So let's see, today we have a Zoom call, a Skype call, Facebook Rooms call, a FaceTime call, and a WhatsApp video call, and everyone wants to see your face. So stick around for 5 tips on how you can get more comfortable and confident on camera. Here we go. What's up everyone? Welcome to our channel where we talk about every possible way to take your time back and make each moment a great moment. Now I'm in the same position as you where our calendar is jam-packed full of video calls and Skype calls and every other type of call, and we're all quarantined at home and unable to meet people in real life. So if you're like me and you've also worked in the online space and you've put out some content on YouTube and on other social platforms, you know that it's not really easy to get over that barrier of being on camera all the time, whether it's for a meeting or for some other content that you're working on. But there's definitely some ways that you can get over some of those barriers, and believe me, I am the biggest introvert. Yeah, no one ever believes me when I say that, but it's true. If I can do it, you can do it. Now, if you're actually thinking of running some virtual events, then don't forget to check out our other video here so that you can get some tips on how to plan that the best way going forward with different virtual event platforms. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss any episodes about how to take your time back and make each moment a great moment. So let's jump into it. Now, our first tip is to be aware of your physical presence. So your body language, whether you're attending a virtual event or a virtual interview or just meeting with people on video camera, or if you're actually filming something to put on the internet, your physical presence really does make a difference. And that's with regards to your body language. Now, there's a bunch of different things that come into it, but be ready to recognize that the way that you interact with the camera or with your smartphone, if you're doing a video call, is completely different from the way that your body language might be just when you're sitting around in your house or when you're just sitting in another physical space. So be aware of how straight you are sitting and be ready to face the camera. Now, one thing that we always notice is that people are not aware of where the actual camera is. They might be filming something on their smartphone, or they might be looking at an actual camera, and you'll see them just looking like an inch off into the distance. So be aware and test this in advance as to where you're actually looking, so that way the person that's receiving your message feels like you are giving them direct eye-to-eye contact. Make sure you're sitting up straight and be ready to project your voice. Talking to the camera is nothing like talking to your friend who you're sitting and having coffee with. You have to be able to enunciate your words and be aware of the fact that after all of this goes through the camera and processes and reaches the other person on the other side, some of your words are going to get mumbled and jumbled. So be ready to talk louder and project and talk at a reasonable speed and cadence so that the other people can follow. Now, of course, hand gestures are a big thing that we see on camera, whether you're doing a video call or somebody on YouTube. Now, I am well known for having a lot of gestures when I talk. It's just because I'm so passionate about what I'm saying, and I just want to give you my message like that. But be aware of whether you are waving your hands widely or whether you see some people like pointing and making all sorts of odd finger gestures when they are on camera. Recognize all of those things. Usually they are involuntary movements. They're not things that you might do in natural life, but on camera, when you get a little bit nervous or a little bit self-conscious about that presence, then you have a tendency to have all of these involuntary movements. Same like other things that we see people doing, like moving their hair around or twirling their hair, or you see some people like touching their face in multiple ways or tugging with their clothing. These are all things that every person naturally does anyway in real life, and then it becomes manifested when they're on camera. So be aware of that. The other thing to do with your physical presence is your choice of clothing when you are going to be on camera. Now, if you're attending an interview of any sort, then of course, we leave it up to you to decide what's appropriate for that. But if you're just on like a video call with some colleagues of yours, or if you're preparing something to put on the internet, then your choice of your clothing is important. There's tons of information on Google about the strategies to use to be able to pick out clothes for yourself that are good for camera work in terms of colors and fit. But the main things to remember is that your clothes should be fitting to your body. Boxy, oversized, or too tight outfits becomes even more so when it actually translates on camera. So be aware of that. Pick colors that are complementary to your skin, that don't completely wash you out or end up being the brightest thing that clashes with your surroundings. Be aware of having clothes that have prints on them. Certain size prints are okay, they translate well on camera, but be aware that whether you are using a DSLR or your smartphone to do your filming, if you have any type of autofocusing going on, your camera might spend the entire time trying to focus on the little red squares on your shirt. So just recognize that. Solid colors or something with a very, very minimal pattern is always optimal for any type of camera work. So keep these two things in mind so that you can physically look and feel your best, so that you can go on with the rest of our 4 tips. Now, the second thing to work on so that you can feel your best on camera is your mindset. Now, I know that that's a word that everyone tosses around nowadays, but it really is true when it comes to this. Because the number one barrier that people have when they want to present something in front of a camera or on a stage is that they feel a certain level of stage fright or camera shyness. And really, in fact, that's just like a mental block or a mental barrier that we have. We might be feeling like the people on the other side of the camera are going to be judging us, judging the way that we look or the way that we talk, or not able to understand our message clearly. But try to recognize that that is just a barrier that we are placing on ourselves. The person on the other side of the camera really just wants the contact. They want to be able to connect and to get the information. Now, agreed, if you are being interviewed on camera by Oprah Winfrey, then yes, she might be looking at a little bit more of a high quality production. But for the average video call or video meeting with colleagues, or to put out something on YouTube or across your social platforms, really just get over that mindset to remember your camera or your smartphone is just a piece of plastic. You're just looking at that plastic and just trying to make a connection with whoever is watching on the other side. There's really no judgment there. Now, I'm sure that you've seen famous YouTubers who take their smartphone and just walk down the street talking to their phone in a vlogging style. So this is really a case in point that the way that we look, the way that we're kind of set up, none of that is as important as the message that we're trying to convey. So work on your mindset, remind yourself that there's nothing to be nervous about, there's really no judgment there, and then we can move on to step number 3. Now, the next step that I consider to be one of the most crucial in being ready for the camera is to always be prepared. Now, preparation and not having enough preparation is the single biggest way to lose every shred of confidence that you will have if you are already feeling anxious about being on camera. Now, I know that sometimes we see people who are on camera or on stage and they're just speaking so naturally, like the words are flowing out of them as if they wake up in the morning and do this every day. So there are some people that find it really easy to just get themselves going in those type of platforms. But if you know that you have some anxiety around presenting on camera, then you should always spend time in advance preparing your material and preparing yourself. So everything that you need in order to get on camera should be readily available, like your actual setup and your glass of water and your notes and your everything. That should all be handy. You need to spend some time in advance prepping the material so that you know confidently what you are about to speak on. Often your unconfidence will come across on the camera if you feel like you do not know the content well enough. That's when we have a tendency to ramble and kind of go on and on about a particular topic as we're scrambling to get the words because we feel that pressure of being on camera. So always be as prepared as you can be, get all the names down right, get all the facts down right, and spend a little bit of time in advance. So at least that level of confidence will be there, and then you really just have to connect with the camera and the people on the other side. Now, our 4th tip for getting ready to be confident on camera is to make sure that you practice in advance. So this goes along with our 3rd tip of being prepared, but practicing is actually something else that you can do just on your own time. And this is similar to the strategy that people use when they're preparing for a job interview, the same way that you would practice. So what you can do is find a topic that you are very well versed on, something that you can speak quite naturally about even without any notes. It can be something like your family members or a hobby that you have or just something of interest to you. So set yourself up with your smartphone and just start recording for about 5 minutes, talking directly into the camera. So while you're doing that, speak as comfortably as you can. Try to make sure that you are watching the camera and not looking off into the distance somewhere. Watch the intonation of your words. See if you're articulating. Watch all of your hand gestures and make a note of all of these things. Let it go for about 5 minutes. Now, one pro tip that I have for you, and this is something that I do myself all the time, I record myself practicing some material and then I watch it back on hyperlapse. So I basically speed it up and watch it in fast motion. So what happens when you watch it in fast motion is that you can see all of your hand gestures and all of your other gestures really well. And you can see whether you have a tendency to have any awkward body language or talk with a very monotone or a very high pitch or anything. All of these kind of areas of improvement become really apparent on a hyperlapse playback. So that's something you can try. And once you would like to challenge yourself a little bit more, then find a topic that you in fact don't know a lot about. Spend 5 minutes just kind of looking into it to get an idea, and then again, practice in front of your camera. So what that's going to do is that will test your ability to be able to speak looking confident and bringing yourself to a certain level of confidence, even though you are not fully 100% on the content. So this is a scenario that all of us are in meetings or in other video calls. We don't perhaps know every inch of every topic that we have to be talking about, but we still need to be able to continue on camera without rambling or falling apart or having any big gaps in silence there. So that's something that you can also do to practice just to get yourself up to speed so that you can deal with any situation as it comes up in any type of a video call. Now, our fifth and last tip for you is to get the best setup for yourself that you have within your resources. So technology has come such a long way. You no longer need to have tons of expensive equipment and lighting and the whole setup around you. All you need is your smartphone, or if you happen to have a DSLR, and just whatever lights you have readily available to you. That would provide enough of a setup. So if you know that you have to do some camera work to put out on social platforms, or if you have some type of a video call or camera conferencing going on, then spend a little bit of time in your home or whatever your environment is to walk around and find the natural light. So if you place yourself in front of a window that has natural light coming through, even just lightly diffused with a very thin curtain, that will provide the best lighting for you so that the person on the other side of the camera can see your face clearly. Now, I know that all of us have been in Zoom calls where the person's face is completely darkened and then there's a bright window behind them. We should be facing the window, in fact, with the light on our face or at least at a 45-degree angle off of our face. So look around the house for that and get yourself set up there. The angle of your phone or your laptop where your webcam is always very important. Now, if you don't have access to a tripod, all you would really have to do is set up your phone or your laptop on top of a couple of books or something so that you have it at eye level with the camera. Often what we see is that people place their laptop down on a table or their desk, and then they sit like this in front of it and then look down at the webcam. So what happens is the person on the other side that is in the meeting with you, they are basically looking up at your nostrils or at the under part of your chin for the entire time. So try to have everything at eye level, and it just requires propping it up a little bit. In terms of audio, of course, if you have access to an external mic, that's always great. But nowadays, even all the inbuilt systems are really quite good. So do a couple tests with a few different items. First, you could test out the microphone that just comes with your smartphone. Just do a video test and see what that sounds like. And same with your laptop. And then test it again with your actual headphones to be able to pick up that mic and see if that makes any difference. Now, in some instances, you can go on Amazon and just purchase a very inexpensive but efficient mic like the one that I'm wearing here. It's a lavalier. It just plugs right into your equipment and then it just increases the audio. So these are just some simple things that you can do to just help your environment be the best that it can be. And then of course the content and the actual spirit that you bring to the video work is all on you. But these are some things just to set the environment so that you feel like your best self. So there you have it, everybody, our best tips to make you look and feel your best on camera. Now, I know that we've had a lot of questions about this particular topic. So if you're interested in this type of a content about how to get ready to do stage work or camera work, then definitely leave us a comment or send us a message and we'd be happy to continue working on that. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done that, and give it a like, and be sure to share this video with any of your introverted friends who need some help to get on camera. So until we see you next time, remember to make each moment a great moment.